Hey everyone, this is Ebony again in the everyday life of Ebony. Today I'm actually going to be making baked macaroni and cheese. It's a recipe that I picked up from a special person that I know. Her name is Lena. I've been watching her make this macaroni and cheese for years, and it's like one of the best. I know Thanksgiving is coming up, and I decided to go ahead and show you how to make baked macaroni and cheese the good way, or at least the way where you're getting that very juicy, very cheesy, very delicious baked macaroni and cheese, far from dry. It just melts in your mouth pretty much. So I'm gonna get started. I'm going to show you everything that I bought from the store today at Publix. I have my other YouTube video, which is I think I'm going to call it the trip to Publix Thanksgiving edition. So you can go check out that video of me walking around the store, pretty much picking out the things that you need to buy to put this dish together. Okay, so here's all the ingredients that I have to make my baked macaroni and cheese. I pretty much got my ziti noodles. Those are the type of noodles that I wanted to get for this dish. I got this because of pretty much the way that the noodle is shaped. I like it when the cheese melts and goes inside of the noodle. So when you bite into your macaroni and cheese, you have the cheese oozing out of it. And I think that's like pretty amazing. I did buy medium cheddar. You could buy sharp cheddar if that's your preference, but I decided to buy medium. Also as well, I bought mozzarella. Now I bought the smaller packs because I am using a half of a pan. I'm not really doing a big pan. I'm just doing this to show for the video. I bought some eggs here. Doesn't matter what type of eggs you use. I bought heavy whipping cream. This is a 16-ounce bottle. I'm probably not going to use the whole thing, but that would be perfect for this half of a pan. I bought carnation milk. I bought sour cream. The seasonings that I use is Accent. I use Larry's seasoned salt. I use white powder, and I use powdered mustard, ground powdered mustard. Okay, I have my foil paper to cover the mac and cheese when I put in the oven. I have my salt and my oil. That's actually going to be used to put into the pot. Now I am videotaping this all by myself, so beware of the camera motions and me stopping every 2 seconds to record from a different angle. Now I do have my pot boiling or getting ready to boil. I have it on high so that way I can put my noodles in. As soon as it comes to a complete boil, I'm going to put my noodles in. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and start by grabbing some salt. I really don't have measurements with this. You just got to pretty much eyeball it. But, you know, I'm just putting in some salt. Probably about a teaspoon of salt in there. For my noodles, and then I'm going to grab some oil and put some oil in the pot as well so my noodles don't stick together. That's a good amount. All right, so I'm going to have that going pretty much. Grab a spoon. Let's see. This is a good spoon. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and mix that up a little bit so I can. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let that get washed. I already cleaned out the pans. I already pre-washed everything, so that way everything is nice and ready to go. My phone's dead. I got it hooked up to the charger. All right. First things first, while the water is boiling, I'm going to go ahead and cut my cheeses into cube-sized pieces. I'm going to go ahead and chop that up. Once I chop it up, I'm going to show you the end result, how it's supposed to look before you put it into the pan. Okay, so I'm pretty much cutting up the cheese into small square pieces, like so. I like cooking. It's so funny because I actually, when I was younger, I didn't even know how to cook. I mean, my mom taught me a few things, but it wasn't until I moved out of my mom's house and got into my first relationship where me and my boyfriend were living together, and he was like, you're gonna have to cook for me. And I'm like, I don't know how to cook. And he's like, well, my girl's gonna have to know how to cook or this ain't gonna work out. So I had no choice but to learn how to cook, which is something that every woman should know how to do anyway, because who wants to eat at McDonald's every night? Not me. And especially when you're cooking things from scratch, it's much better. There's so much processed food out here nowadays, you don't know what's healthy and what's not. So when you cook for yourself, you can definitely know for a fact what's going in your food. Trying to cut as quickly as possible so you don't have to sit here and watch me cutting cheese for a majority of the video. The smaller you cut your cheese, the better. I mean, some people are like, well, why don't you just go ahead and just use a bunch of shredded cheese? The thing with the shredded cheese is it melts a little too quickly for the time that's going to be in the oven. And it's not going to give you the same effect as this will. These are just tiny blocks of cheese, which the tiny blocks of cheese over the time that it's in the oven, I typically put my macaroni and cheese in the oven between 45 minutes to an hour. It all depends, you know, how brown you want the top of your macaroni and cheese and things of that nature. Also, too, if you're going to put it in for about an hour, you can do 375 for the temperature in the oven, but I'm trying to cook it a little quicker today, so I did put it on 400, and our goal is for it to be done in 45 minutes. I just finished cutting up the mozzarella. That's what this is here. I am now cutting up my mild cheddar. Like I said, you could use sharp cheddar. It's your preference. I am using medium cheddar instead. Yeah, I would have to say one thing about this dish, it's very time consuming when cutting up your blocks of cheese, especially if you're making a big pan, as I'm only making a half a pan today, just to show you how I make my macaroni and cheese. But typically, most likely, for people who have a lot of people in their family, I want to say for Thanksgiving, if you're going to have more than 10 guests, I suggest that you're going to get a large pan. And some people have like 20 people coming over, then you would obviously be cooking at least 2 pans of macaroni and cheese. So prepping for the macaroni and cheese does take time because the amount of cheese you would have to cut for your dish. Now, these cheese blocks were only 8-ounce cheese blocks, Publix brand. So it's not taking me long to cut the amount of cheese needed for this. Yeah, so I'm almost done cutting this up here. Everybody has their own technique. You don't have to be pretty with cutting your cheese. I'm a little OCD. So I want mine to be a perfect square or tiny rectangle. Some people could just do whatever, but this is how I prefer to do it. And then towards the end, what I like to do is mix the cheeses together. So that way when I'm putting it into the pan, it's all good. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop cutting for a little bit because my pot is now boiling. My pot is now boiling over here. This is how I wanted to get it before I put the noodles in. So you're not gonna completely boil your noodles all the way. What you're gonna do is blanch them for about 2 minutes on high. So I'm opening up the box of noodles. I got the ziti. I'm gonna put it in the pot here. I'm gonna stir it around a little bit. Alright. The time is now 11:23. I'm gonna put the top on so it could boil. The steam can get to it a little bit better. It could boil faster. Alright, and then I'm gonna go back to cutting the cheese. And by the time I finish cutting the cheese, the 2 minutes should be up. And I can go ahead and take the noodles out. Drain completely in a drainer. And go from there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting up the rest of this cheese, which is like a little bit left, and I'm gonna continue where I left off after the fact. And then I'll show you the next steps in this video. Now, just kind of like mix it up a little bit. Try to mix the cheddar with the mozzarella as much as you can. You could typically do this in a bowl, but I like to mix everything in my pan. It's best to do it with gloves if you have plastic gloves to mix everything in, because I have nails on and all of that stuff is going to get in between everything. But I washed my hands, so it's all good. Alright, so I mixed in my cheese. I got my cheese prepped for the dish. My noodles are almost done, so we're going to get that out and drain it in a minute. Okay, so now I had removed the noodles from the pot that I had boiling. I had my noodles boiling in salt. I put salt in the water along with oil for about 2 to 5 minutes on high. I don't want to cook my noodles all the way through because it's going to cook the rest of the way in the oven. Ooh, it's hot, 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 hot. So I'm trying to mix up. Okay, so I mixed up all the noodles in the pot. And I'm ready to combine all the ingredients that I have into the pot. Now, before I started the video, I did get everything prepped and ready to go. All right, so I have my cheese. I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle my cheese over the noodles. Get all the cheese up out of there. Just gonna spread that in there a little bit. And then I have my 1 egg. I already mixed it up. I mixed it up already, so that way I can pour it evenly, or try to pour it evenly through the pan. Okay, good. I have my heavy whipping cream. Go ahead and evenly pour that in here. And I'm going to use the whole cup. Well, the whole carton, 16 ounces. All right. I'm going to pour probably about half of the carnation milk in the pan as well. I'm going to get 1 tablespoon, 1 big tablespoon of sour cream. That's good enough. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of white pepper. Not too much, just a little bit. That's good enough. So just a sprinkle is good. Same thing with the ground mustard. I know my camera's going in and out. Sorry about the quality. Sprinkle just a little bit. And then next I have my Larry's salt seasoning. I'll put some in there. And then I have, last but not least, my accent. Okay, so I went ahead and I put the sour cream, I put the egg, I put the heavy whipping cream, I put the carnation milk, and all the seasonings. Now it's time to mix everything together. It's best to use your hands so that way you can really mix everything in. I've already washed my hands between this process. You could always use a glove if you don't want to get your hands dirty. I am going to actually put the entire can of carnation milk in. So a whole can of carnation milk. That's good. That's my hands. All right, finish mixing. It's gonna look like soup at the beginning, but it's fine. All right. Okay. All right, everything's pretty much okay. All right, so that's pretty much how I like it. All right, now I'm gonna pour the cheese over, the shredded cheese on top. Of everything. Sorry everyone, I'm doing this with one hand, so it's a bit difficult. And spread it over the top of everything evenly. Okay, perfect. All right. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and apply the foil paper and put everything in. All right, so I put the foil paper over the macaroni and cheese, getting ready to put it in the oven. All right, I have the oven on 400. It is 12:15. I'm gonna take it out in 45 minutes at 1 o'clock to check on it, make sure everything's okay, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I took it out of the oven after 45 minutes, and it still needs a little bit more cooking to go. Still a little bit with the milk and everything. So I'm gonna put the foil paper back over the top of the macaroni and cheese and put it back in the oven for like another half hour to 45 minutes, and then I'll check on it again. All right, everyone, I skipped a few steps because I had some technical difficulties with my phone. But the last time I was talking to you, I had brought the macaroni and cheese out of the oven, took the top off to see if it was done. It did need another 30 minutes, so I put it back in the oven with the foil paper on it for 30 minutes on 400. I took it back out. I took the top off and let it sit in the oven for about 10 minutes without any covering, so that we can get that nice golden brown on top. I took it out of the oven and I let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and cut into it and go ahead and try some. Trying to cut around the edges here. Oh boy. Awesome sauce. Sounds so good. I'm gonna enjoy this. Okay. This macaroni and cheese. I'm ready to try it. All right. So I am about to dig in and like devour my face with this. Bruh, this macaroni and cheese is like that. So good. Great for Thanksgiving. Comment if you have any more questions about it. Like my videos. Subscribe. Do all that fancy stuff. And I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this macaroni and cheese, because it's bomb.